Welcome back to the USAC Season Review. Larry Rice, the USAC Sprint car is perhaps the most potent of all race cars.
Well, they have the highest horsepower to weight ratio of anything that we see on Saturday Night Thunder, and that makes them one tough race car to handle.
Pavement or dirt. When the season began, defending champion Robbie Stanley was not in the family-owned Sprinter, and four-time champion Steve Butler was still hooked up with the Hoffmans in that famed 69. Some of the best action all year, Raceway Park, 4, 5, 6 guys battling, and a new nickname for Robbie Stanley. The merry month of May at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Rick Howerton out in front, but there is Robbie Stanley, the blue number 5, to the inside of Eric Gordon as they work off the fourth corner.
Eric Gordon gets a little loose and gives Robbie Stanley a tap as he moves down to the inside, and it only loses one spot going into turn 1.
Tony Stewart moves to third. Stanley drops to fourth. Howerton still out in front. There's a good battle for second position now between Stewart on the high side. And look at Roby. Bruce Roby into the fence. The catch fence actually holds him inside the ballpark.
The old xylophone trick. Bing, 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 bing.
And Roby, you can see the damage to the front of the cars. Everybody else kind of goes on by, and he is okay. But here comes the big one. Down the backstretch, there's the contact, and Robbie Stanley picks up the nickname
Sparky, and there you can see why. How he kept from getting out of the ballpark, I'll never know. This thing slid on its top. It seemed like forever, sparks flying everywhere, and he does have a new nickname. Hello, Sparky.
Once again, the defending sprint car champion was uninjured. Now look at Jim Keeker, and the V6 goes by 2 cars in 1 turn.
Jim Keeker was unbeatable on this particular night. He was fast in that V6 and was not to be denied.
And Keeker picks up the victory in the DuPont Jetstar sponsored Sprinter. Now June 13th, once again up in front, Eric Gordon. 3 years running, he has been second in the championship hunt.
Boy, this car, that makes me want to duck every time I see that camera shot.
And look at this move on the inside. That is Butler, the white 69. Mahoney on the high side in the red number 1. Butler goes around. Mahoney takes a look to the inside, but can't make that low line stick.
The smoke coming out of Butler's car tells the story, though. He wasn't to last for long, blowing smoke like that.
Eric Gordon hangs on to win at Raceway Park because Salem coming up the very next day. What a beautiful sight in southern Indiana.
Watch this white car. Donnie Adams goes into turn 3. He's underneath Tim Chaplin. He touches his left rear wheel. Both cars hard into the fence. They bounce back down. Miss the first group of cars, but coming through in that second set, they don't miss Bruce Roby, and he slides all the way down that front straightaway, spilling fuel.
Of course, this brings out the red flag as everything is stopped. The safety crew there, water, just in case there is a fire to neutralize the alcohol. And we go back to competition. Remember the victory last night? Well, the engine just wouldn't last for 2 races in 2 days. Eric Gordon loses the power plant. He's out of the action.
And this is the battle, the V6 versus the V8, and the V6 wins as Keeker blows around Robbie Stanley and into the lead and goes on to be the winner this day.
Now we go back to Winchester, June 20th. Oh, what a night that a lot of race fans will long, long remember. The action heavy down the backstretch. There's a look at Stanley on the inside, the yellow number 1 following Steve Butler as the cars spark through the third and fourth corner. Now here is Howerton. Rick Howerton triggers this very, very frightening crash. Dave Durnwall has the car erupt in flames. Tice Carlson is tucked in behind Durnwall. Now notice Durnwall is fanning the flames. It's frightening. However, Durnwall climbed out. He was uninjured, and there he is. The fire suit by Simpson did the job. Tony Stewart, young Tony in the Chrisman Sprinter, he has been impressive.
He has been, and right there, Butler gave him a little tap and went into the lead. He wanted the lead very, very badly to put on a move like that.
Watch Stanley bottom out. He slides up high, and Jim Mahoney slides by for a position. And there is the white flag, and there, a 4-time USAC Sprint Car champion, the white number 69 is Steve Butler. Behind him, defending champion Robbie Stanley. One last shot through 3 into 4. Can't make it stick down low. First win of the year for Steve Butler.
Steve Butler needed a win for the Hoffman family, and he got a big one here at Winchester.
From pavement now, we switch to dirt. This is the Jim Hurtubise Classic at the Action Track in Terre Haute, and Do It Hewitt did it. Almost into the infield, but back out of the track. They actually repaired the car, and he runs in the feature.
This is the start of the Hurtubise Classic. That's Doug Coletta leading the pack, and Robbie Stanley tries the slide job down into turn 1. up behind him. He can't make it stick. The rest of the pack follows through turns 1 and 2.
Now, Rusty McClure has moved up to second. He starts to challenge. And once again, that's Coletta out in front, a slower car out in front of Coletta. And there's the move to the inside, a swap of the lead, and Rusty McClure now has the lead in car 63.
The racetrack was really rough on this day, as you see right there. Rusty McClure up on 2 wheels, but back down and pulling away.
And now watch this move by Tony Elliott on the inside in the blue number 17. And look right in front of Coletta. That was a big bicycle by Kerry Foss.
Kerry Foss did a great job just to keep that thing on all 4 wheels. Here we come down. Tony Elliott sneaks in front of Rusty McClure on a restart. Rusty McClure right back to the bottom.
Look who's third in the blue number 21. That's Jack Hewitt. Fourth is Steve Butler down the backstretch. McClure hangs on. He takes the victory at Terre Haute in the Jim Hurtubise Classic. At this point in the season, Robbie Stanley leads the point standings over Eric Gordon, Jim Keeker, Steve Butler, and Tony Stewart.
In typical USAC fashion, we had a lot of heroes pop up over the summer. But when it came right down to the end, there were only 3 guys in the running for the national championship: Butler, Gordon, and Stanley. They all wanted to win badly. They had a lot of desire and a lot of need going into these last few races.
Jim Mahoney on board Johnny Vance's bright red number 1. He's won a couple of times this season, but not a factor in the points championship hunt. But a driver who is and has been over the last 3 years, Eric Gordon, although he's had some tough times this season. Also in the picture this year, there's the white number 69, the Hoffman family sprinter, a 4-time champion, Steve Butler. He is very much in the thick of it. Here's a guy who wasn't going to run for points, defending champion. He's leading the point standings. This is Sparky once again. And one of the young, impressive drivers, there is Tony Stewart, and I predict a championship for him in the next couple of years.
I agree with you, Gary. I think this kid's got a great future in front of him. And here's Robbie Stanley in the 4th different race car he's been in this summer, getting ready for Eldora, where the points are really critical. Watch the start of this race. Bang, into the fence. That was Tony Stewart. He causes a big melee going into turn 1, but everybody gets the race car straightened out and through the corner.
Eric Gordon, he is out of competition and could well cost him a championship effort this year. Robbie Stanley in the 57 Hazen car showing how to run the cushion up close to the fence here at Eldora. Here's the classic slide job as Doug Coletta gets passed by Steve Butler.
A classic slide job is right. He really pulled that off and moved right on towards the front of the racetrack.
Of course, that ride has been taken over by Robbie Stanley this year, and they moved to a J&J chassis for dirt track competition. And here is a look at Danny Smith. He's an invader from the World of Outlaws, knows this track very well, took the wing off, and he wins the $10,000 at the Eldora 4 Crown. Now we're back to Terre Haute, and this is the Tony Hulman Classic.
And talking about slide jobs, look what Dave Darland does to Steve Butler. Butler's usually the master, but he just got it done to him right there.
Here's the battle for second. Another classic slide job. Kerry Foss on the inside, slides up in front of Butler. Butler drops to third now. Another lap, and here's the battle for the lead. Again, Kerry Foss down low, gives it a slide. He has the lead. Dave Darland tries back on the inside. Foss stays on the hammer over the cushion, and he hangs on to win the Tony Hulman Classic at the action track in Terre Haute. But Robbie Stanley would come back to win his 2nd straight sprint car championship, followed by Butler, Gordon, Tony Stewart, and Trey House.